Welcome to the episode of the Love and Reality Podcast. I am your host, Ricky Valero. On today's episode, we have reached the season finale of season 5 of Love is Blind. I'm just so excited. I can't wait to talk about it. We have reached the wedding episodes, a wild, crazy season. Aaliyah and Uchi breaking up in the pods where she disappeared. Uchi wreaking havoc on everybody, trying to tell his side of the story to the entire world. We had JP and Taylor break up after getting ready to leave Mexico. But now, after all of that, all of the wild craziness, we have Stacy and Izzy walking down the aisle, and we have Milton and Leah walking down the aisle. Of course, at the end of episode 9, we got a little bit of drama with Stacy finding out about Izzy's money issues, and that caused a big ruckus. Well, that caused these two not to say yes at the altar. What about Lydia and Milton? Had a little bit of a bickerman about how they handle certain scenarios and had a long conversation about that. Before we dive in, thank you guys so much for joining me this year on this season of Love is Blind here on the Love and Reality Podcast. If you're listening on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast, please give me a 5-star ranking if they have 5 rating. If they have one of those, leave a comment if you're on YouTube. Also drop a subscription. We will be diving into something else here in the very near future here on the Love and Reality Podcast. I don't know what it is yet, but I can't wait to talk about it. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. Without further ado, let's dive into the wedding days. Stacey talks about how falling in love with Izzy was so fast. We get one of those, of course, big random recaps. She said she loves Izzy, blah, 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 blah. We get like a 3-minute montage of how they got here. Izzy arrives, talks about his credit score, and he didn't know it would be such a big problem. He said, love has no credit score. Bro, what? Like, I want to know what Stacy is going to feel like when she sees that moment, right? I'd love to be a fly on the wall. I would have loved to be a fly on the wall of that conversation. We didn't see that conversation kind of go down. His legs are bouncing like through the floor as he talks about and the process they've been going through. He says they've been processing things, but he still loves her. He says, I don't care about the drama or the money. She needs someone to stick around and didn't run away. So he's going to keep on fighting. He says, I'm going to go up there and I'm going to say yes. Stacey said this has been the most emotional, mental, challenging thing that she's ever been through. He got his passport and his favorite restaurant is Chipotle. There's some funny banter throughout this entire episode. Stacey talks things up with her family, and they say they love him, but she said there's still many things that he isn't doing that aren't checking the boxes. Her mom said, when you get up there, you'll know whether or not you'll say yes or not. She said, if you say no, are you willing to lose Izzy forever? We hear him say many things about how he writes things and does little things, but Stacy says he doesn't. Like, I'm confused. I need clarity. Okay. In the scene that we get here, so we see him say all of these things that he does. He talks about how he writes things, leaves little notes for her. He says that to his friends. I feel like someone is lying here. If he's doing it just for show, the stuff he said is to everyone else, then she isn't being truthful, or is he lying? I'm so confused. He wrote a little poem that was delivered to the best man, Stacy. He just told his friends that he leaves notes all over the house, but she says to the camera, she's always wanted him to do this, and this was his first note. Is he a pathological liar? I don't know. I don't have answers. We didn't really see that. He says he leaves notes all over the house for her and does all these little things for her. She says this was the first note she's ever gotten from him. Which is the truth? I don't know. All right, we're 18 minutes in. It felt like 2 hours. Izzy mom's comes in and gives him some love. Stacey's dad comes in and sees her. He tells her to do what she feels is right. It is time. Izzy is about to walk the aisle. He makes a grand entrance. He thanks everyone for coming. Here comes the bride. Stacey looks incredible in this dress. Her dad says she's proud of her and she'll make the right decision. Izzy smiles. She smiles back. Stacey's father said to him and her mother are giving Stacey away. Izzy said he looked beautiful and he's very excited. Izzy says his vows. He says some really nice things about her. He said, I fell in love with you. He said he will never give up on her and always fight for her. He shows her off one more time to the audience. She's saying going into this that he hit her like a train out of left field, whatever the hell that means. She said he makes her want to be a better person. She said the last few days have been a lot, but she's never not loved them. Now it's time to decide if love is blind. Izzy's first. Izzy says, I do. Stacy's turn. Everyone patiently waiting. She says, I love you more than I can explain. I want to make you happy and I want to say yes, but I would be doing you and I a disservice in order to say yes. Uh-oh. She said, we need more time and we haven't had time. She says, I can't. And I hope you understand. He says, I understand and I love you. Now, this is the part that I get very, very frustrated. He says, I understand and I love you. He said, I've always been your biggest fan and supporter. It's fair. It's fair for both of us to be in the right spot. He says, I'm hurt and I'm sad. He said, I gave all I had. He says he feels so numb. I understand that he's hurt and sad. I understand that. But he just said to her that I understand and I love you. I'm my biggest fan and supporter. It's only fair for us to be both in the right spot. 1 minute you're saying this. The next minute you're like acting like this has to be the end of the relationship because you what? Because she said no to you in front of everybody? I don't understand. His mom comforts him. Again, I don't get it. Like, what can't y'all be together? Stacy said she has no regrets. She said she meant everything she said, but she couldn't say yes. They talked. She said she feels relieved with the pressure of being gone. He said, I'm very confused right now. She said, don't be confused, and said that she would like to feel like us again. She said that she's willing to put everything into it. She said she needs time to trust him and everything he has said to her. He said it's tough. They're going to go backwards. She said, I'm still standing here with you. And he said, but in different spots. It really breaks my heart. He said, I love you. And I did want to marry you. And the timeline didn't worry him. And now he will wonder if it'll ever be the right time for him. Bullshit. He said, we could die tomorrow. Shut the fuck up. I'm so frustrated. She's saying that I'm willing to work towards. If you love this woman, why in this moment does it matter that much to you that she said no? That's the question I want to know. That's it. He says to the camera, she probably feels relieved that this process is over. All this outside shit got to her, looks, money, drama. He said he was at the gym and he saw the Titanic on the screen, and then that is love. He rambles about the credit car, where he eats, and starts to slander Stacy about the men she goes after. Man, I couldn't hate this more. Like, whatever. Like, that pissed me off. Like, I am so far Team Stacy. I could see through the roof of being Team Stacy. It made me so happy. I'm happy for her. Go Stacy. I'm glad for you standing up for who you are. Milton and Lydia time, we get a montage of them. Lydia has had some highs and lows in the show with so many different aspects. Her arc is one of my favorite in the show's history. Lydia talks up Milton and everything he has done so far. Milton arrives. I just soak up moments like this. They have a beautiful bond. Said that he had to work all night and he hasn't gotten any sleep, but he's ready to get married. Milton said he has some uneasy feelings heading into the wedding. Lydia said she just always has bad feelings, but she doesn't have a bad feeling now. She said she feels like she's marrying the love of her life. He tells his boys that Lydia makes him a better person. Milton's dad arrives with some cufflinks. He says if he has any questions before he steps into the rest of his life, he says his dad said everyone will question a time frame, but he went after what he wanted. He tells him to learn to fight fair. Very beautiful moment between Milton and his father. I love these little moments like this. They're very important and very pivotal, and it kind of shows an emotional, authentic side of this entire experiment, which all is, but I'm just saying. He starts to talk to the camera about how he might be going into this naively. He said his nerves are starting to creep up on him. Milton is waiting for Lydia. Asked the preacher if he's supposed to button up that part of a jacket, and the pastor says to him, yes. Lydia comes down the aisle with her mom, and she has this massive smile on her face, and Milton looks like Milton. They do say a bunch of sweet things about each other. Lydia says, I do. Milton's turn. My dude is sweating, but no hesitations. He says, I do. Maybe the quickest I do's back and forth I think we've ever seen on the show. They share a kiss. The preacher said you're not supposed to share a kiss yet. They haven't even put their ring on the fingers yet. Her brother's a hot mess. He's just so emotionally and very happy. These two are the best ever. They fight over who's going to pop the bottle. Milton puts on her wedding veil, and she makes him do like a model walk, which is hilarious. Izzy says he does feel like love is blind. Or sorry, we switched to Izzy now. He said Izzy does feel like love is blind. We should have ended on a happy note. I don't know why we had to see his face again. He said he's sad because he had it all and deserves the same in return. She said she was willing to work on it. Hello. Stacey said she wasn't 100% certain. That's why she couldn't say yes. Taylor said that part of her regret not trying to push forward, but she felt like she did the right thing. JP says his true love is really out there. Uchi said he hopes to grow and to be a better communicator. Aaliyah said the experiment challenged her. Joni said she learned that I'm not a perfect person. Chris said he believes love is blind. We end with our king and queen of season 5, Milton and Lydia, having their first dance. Milton said all that matters is that they are happy and they love each other. And then they have a cute little moment where they're fighting over cutting the cake. He makes fun of her terrible English as they are ready for their next chapter. That is a wrap on season 5 of Love is Blind. Of course, we have a reunion coming. We have an After the Altar and all those good things. So we'll find out where everybody's at. That reunion is going to be spicy. And I can't wait for it. But I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in. Of course, when we have that reunion, we will be covering right here on the Love and Reality podcast. Thank you guys so much for your support throughout the season. We'll talk to you guys soon.